and welcome to Headlines from History, where we bring the top headlines from the past to you today. My name is Laura. You need to tell them your name.
Your name!
No, you have to tell them what your name is.
What your name is.
My name is Laura, and this here is Adrian.
Let's see the headlines. The Great Pyramid of Giza has finally been built.
Reports that what the monks have been telling us about the Vikings has been woefully inaccurate.
And a fantastic new invention has just been invented in the Stone Age. And so, straight to our first headline. It has been reported that Pharaoh Khufu has finally finished building the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Wow.
The best and the greatest of all the pyramids, certainly the biggest. Construction began around about 2560 BC and has been lasting over the last 20 years. In fact, a lot of people wondering, was it ever going to be built?
Absolutely, I was one of those people. Although Pharaoh Khufu is keeping it well under his hat, a big secret as to how it was actually constructed. We've had varying reports from various sources, all with various different things to say about the matter.
That's right, no one really knows. But there have been some different theories thrown our way. The first, simple one, they got in some boats, they went down the River Nile, or up the River Nile, rivers are confusing, and then they got some limestone blocks, brought it back to the construction site. Job's a good one. But how did they get these massive blocks weighing from as little as 2.5 tons to all the way up to 7 tons to the construction site?
Absolutely, because you don't want to build your pyramid right next to the River Nile. The Nile floods so regularly, your whole pyramid would just go on the floor. You don't want that to happen.
Nobody wants a soggy pyramid.
No.
Maybe they used the water from the Nile to dampen the sand, to reduce the friction, to make it easier to push the blocks over the top.
Clever.
Or maybe they chopped down some trees, laid them on the ground, trimmed off the bark, covered them in grease and fat from cute little animals, maybe cuddly little piglets, so they were all nice and lubed up and globular, and then they slid the limestone blocks over them like a giant conveyor belt.
Terrifying, but clever. We have had a report from one of the workers on actual ground zero where the pyramid was constructed, and he claimed that they used ramps to get to the very top, as the construction is happening and the pyramid gets bigger and bigger. They use these big ramps to get all the way around up to the top, which is no mean feat, because I have a figure here for you, Adrian. The pyramid itself was an enormous 146.5 meters tall at the very tip. So there we go. Though we do have some very interesting reports. In fact, all of our sources say the same thing on this particular matter, that all of the workers, the laborers on the pyramid, they were all paid for their hard work. No slave built that pyramid.
Nothing better than the sweet, sweet feel of cash in your hand.
Well, probably more bread. The sweet feel of bread or beer in your hand. That's what I get paid in.
You get paid?
Yeah. And in other news, turns out the monks have been lying to us.
Religious people lying about things? Not on my watch.
I know. So it turns out that since 793 AD, the monks have been lying to us about what the Vikings actually looked like, which was all right for them. You see, they could strike fear into our hearts because they were the only ones who had seen them on their various raids on Lindisfarne, that sort of thing. But now that the Vikings are invading along the whole of the coastline, reports have been coming in that they don't actually look like how the monks have been claiming.
No, the monks' original story was the Vikings were super tall, massive giants with big blonde beards and massive muscles. The big biceps with the vein running down and the big pecs that you can make dance. Dancing pecs, the bouncy pecs.
Terrifying.
And also that they were really, really, really just scary to look at, all the time terrifying. But that's not quite the case. We've had conflicting reports. The Vikings weren't that big and threatening at all. They're around about 5'5".
That's the same size as me. I'm 5'5".
I know, and you're so small I could fold you up, put you in my pocket. So they weren't that big, they weren't that scary. They were actually about the same height as the Anglo-Saxons.
Oh, right. Not only that, we know that the monks have been lying to us about what they wore on their heads as well. You see, the monks claimed that they looked like devils, and this came from the idea that the Vikings had these huge horns on their helmets. But we know that that's vastly impractical. Let's face it, not only would you be really off balance if you had a helmet, I mean really heavy as they are helmets, even more heavy if you had the huge horns, and you'd be really off balance. You don't want that going into battle. Furthermore, if you were to have helmets on your, have horns on your helmets, when you went into battle, somebody could just grab you by the horns and then thwack you down and then chop off your head or run you through or whatever. So it's not going to be very practical in a battle type setting.
Dirty lying monks!
Whoa, dude.
And in our final headline of today, in the Stone Age, a fabulous new invention has been invented. Now, we've done some extensive research on this, and we've found out that two cave people going by the name of Ian Bow and Wilma Arrow have invented the Ian and Wilma. Let me tell you.
Adrian.
Huh?
We're going with Ian and Wilma.
The Ian and Wilma.
That's what we're calling it.
Ian and Wilma.
The Ian and Wilma.
Ian and Wilma.
I like it. It's great. It's good. But if we're gonna coin the name, the phrase for it, I was thinking maybe they might decide to name it after their surnames. So if it was Ian Bow and Wilma Arrow, you know, Ian Bow and Wilma Arrow, Ian Bow and Wilma Arrow, it might be
the bow and arrow!
the bow and arrow!
The bow and arrow. And this invention has turned us into the apex predators. We can now hunt any animal, no matter how big, strong, or tough it is.
Absolutely, and we have been testing it against some of the megafauna from the Stone Age, the big animals. Now we've tried it against various different animals. It works very well against the woolly rhino. There's been reports it works very well against woolly mammoths as well, much better than jabbing at it with a spear, that's for sure. Also works well on the Smilodon, the saber-toothed tiger, and we're hoping that it's going to be very effective against that pesky giant donkey beaver.
I hate giant donkey beavers. Either way, let's hope we don't use our newfound ability as being super hunters to wipe out these beautiful species.
Don't be silly, we would never do that. Well, that's it from us. Thank you very much for tuning into Headlines from History, bringing the top headlines from the past to you today. I've been Laura.
And I've been belligerent.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Good night.